Hey son, Norway isn't exactly the country that is mostly known for its death metal. Well, there were some death metal bands prior to the second wave of black metal that started to conquer the whole country during the 90s. But even before that, most of those bands were just, demo level bands. Except maybe Darkthrone and Cadaver. Anyway, there are always some exceptions that change the rule, as the saying kind of goes, and this is one of the better ones. This one's called Nexorum, and here's the debut album called Dead Unchained. Not the most original title, I can tell you that, but who cares? It's the album and the music that matters, not so much the name. And it's not a bad name, it's just not an original one. Here's the band lineup, as you can see, 5 guys. Once again, rather traditional skull and worms or snakes or whatever cover, some track listing, and once again another skull, and that skull is also featured on the CD, as you probably already saw. And then we have this CD layout here. Nice looking digipack, and this is actually, remember, non-Servium Records release. Nice work overall. Let's take a look at the Metal Archive site by the band. Here you are, voila! And as you can see, pretty new band, 2019. One album out, a couple of singles, and it seems these guys are doing something right. Now, to be honest, I don't know really most of these bands. I know Keep of Kalesin, and some of these other names also sound a little bit familiar, but mostly not. But the point here is, you can see these guys are no newbies. They've already have their paths paved with more or less other bands. And it seems like this is not exactly a super group, but kind of a veteran group of band members, which then again results being kind of a modern death metal. I'm not so convinced about this black death metal genre label here, but it's obviously up for debate, because there are some elements which are kind of flirting with black metal. Think of like Behemoth's later years. They had their death metal phase, but after that they kind of returned to black metal, just with more modern style than their 90s stuff. And you have something which reminds me of this band. But this is more on the death metal side, where Behemoth is obviously more on the black metal side. And while Nexorum style is very modern death metal, it doesn't mean it's uber polished or very technical nature or anything like that. It's merely death metal with kind of a modern production and kind of a feeling that is more on the blackened side. One could say blackened death metal, even though it's kind of also up for debate if that kind of a word even makes any sense. But it's death metal, it's modern, it's good production, and it's kind of a catchy. And this flirtation with the black metal side is actually creating a nice seasoning on this album. While this is very much still, I want to underline it, I want to keep it saying all the way through, while this has this flirt with, black metal, I think it would be kind of a misleading to say, yeah, it's black death metal, because those are usually a little bit different. Nexorum isn't exactly reinventing the wheel, but they are just enough doing sort of a renovation, if you will, to the genre. It feels like they are creating the music of their own. So it's kind of a somewhat familiar, but it's also something which is not heard before, not anyway in massive amounts of bands. So it's kind of an interesting design in nature, like layers which are taken from different genres or subgenres of the music, and then this is what makes Nexorum music. It's like a kind of this taco platter. You have these stuff, and when they all kind of blend in, they're kind of mixed and go in your mouth. You're like, oh, mouth foaming. This is good stuff. Now, this is not exactly a great album. I mean, there are some really, really minor flaws here and there. Maybe not as more like flaws, but it's like something is still missing. So, I want to say this. It's good, but it's just kind of a work in progress in terms of being one of those future classics, if you will. Like I said, that doesn't mean it's flawy kind of thing. It's more like saying this is a good debut album, but definitely not the kind of album that will be the band's best. Well, that's kind of a given with most bands, but it's not always the case. Some bands are best with their first album and then they go the wrong direction. But in my opinion, Nexorum started really nicely with this one. So if you are not shy of modern death metal with the flirt of a little bit black metal, then this is maybe your cup of tea. Anyway, go check it out. You have obviously here some Bandcamp stuff and other social media links. So you can just click here and go to listen Death Unchained. And obviously it's here available with rather nice price. So do what you will. Released in March 6th, so it's quite fresh still from the oven. Take a look and hope you enjoy it. Take care, be well, bye bye.